Georgia, he was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind and he was willing to make a deal.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to USC After Dark. It is late night hours here in our second weekend of play with quite a few matches coming at you from 11 p.m. or later on the East Coast, including our first matchups of the night. We have Carolina, Georgia here on the main stream. At the same time, we have New York versus Washington over on the B stream. We've got myself, this one guy, we've got Miles, and we've got, I think, a pretty good matchup in front of us.
Yeah, definitely. Don't let the seeds fool you. Even though Georgia is low seed, I think they're pretty underseeded, especially in a stage like round of 16. They have some players who can really put in the damage. It's eyes on Stacker Joe and Razor Fruit for them. Coming up against a Carolina team that also has some very high-powered tourney players. Looking at players like Will Cookie and Rhythmic RS, who feel like they've been good for just like so long. I think we've got a pretty good matchup on our hands.
Yeah, it should be a pretty fun one. We were talking just before the match started, and we can continue that discussion through warm-ups of kind of the strategies of these two teams, right? Georgia has kind of made their name by being really good at gimmick stuff. This roster that has had Stacker Joe, Razor Fruit, etc. We always seem to see Georgia doing some shenanigans in the free mods. We see easies, we see flashlights, we see crazy stuff coming out of them. And that's kind of been where they've made their name. Obviously, Carolina, Will Cookie, just an incredible all-around early stage player, but a lot of like speed and mechanics with guys like Rhythmic RS and Abba on that roster as well. So it will be, I think, interesting to see what the strategy ends up being for that team. Hey, it's Shane, which is the artist formerly known as Shige Tora or Mriao, has been a fixture as well. Sketch and Filipino, I believe, are both newcomers to this team, so not as familiar with those guys. Filipino's, in fact, ranked 15K, so I'm curious to see what he's going to bring to this team.
That guy, I think, is a D ranker. I think more people know him by the name of as Killing Copper. Pretty known 5-digit player. I'm actually in that guy's Discord server, so probably pretty good at the game, being 15K on a pretty high-seeded USC team. But yeah, I mean, I think the depth definitely goes to Carolina in a matchup like this one, and in a later stage, they'd probably be favored a lot more, but the upset potential comes a lot because this is such an early stage. If they are playing at their best, I think the depth players from Georgia can definitely go up there with some of the depth pieces from Carolina. But still going to be a tough matchup for them. As me and T1G were talking about earlier, I think a lot of Georgia's traditional strengths are not really where they like them to be in this pool. Some of the gimmick being in the no-mod pool instead of in the free mod pool. They have to look at picks like the Earth in the no-mod pool as potential picks, where they don't really have that that anti-mod map, which they love so dearly.
Yeah, Georgia with no CS5 AR8 free mod is a bit of a sad sight to see. That is where we've seen a lot of really sick scores from them. Yeah, Nomad, I think Nomad 2, Nomad 3, maybe Nomad 5, Hidden 2 as well. I think going to be some good picks from them. Of course, picking Hidden 2 into a Will Cookie team is always a scary prospect. But yeah, I'm very interested. Kind of, it's going to be a little bit of adjustment because the free mod pool is kind of an alt light tech pick, and then you have just a couple of basically straightforward aim maps with Tengaku and everybody do the flop. So free mod pool not offering what it normally does for Georgia. Last week, obviously, the upset over Tennessee, a team which went kind of heavy into the mechanics as well. And Georgia had the ability to kind of do that gimmick abuse thing that they do to them because you had stuff like Satori Third Eyes. You had a standard free mod, anti-mod pick, in addition to some other options throughout the pool. So the adaptation for them this week is going to be, I think, very important against the Carolina team that has, I think, some pretty good picks. They'll have stuff like the Nomad one and the entire DT pool that I think will all look pretty darn good to them.
And then we see the warm-up for Carolina coming out after the warm-up for Georgia was played. System, a map I'm very familiar with. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah, this is this one. I like this map actually. This map is pretty cool.
I remember the first time I think I ever saw this pooled was in 4WC 2020 when the 0.8x diff was there and leftovers just like 1v4 the other team. I think it was Russia in losers bracket. And I just can't ever forget that performance.
Dude, Leftovers was so good. Can we just talk about how good Leftovers was like 4 years ago? Oh my goodness.
Actually, such an insane player that never really got to show off in USC that much because Connecticut didn't really have too much roster depth. It was always Leftovers and Ryunata and then a massive cliff. But they do have some talent coming up. I think especially in the 5-digit range is Connecticut.
Yeah, their team's a little rough. They're the last seed this year in this tournament. They drop off. They have 2 players at or above 2K rank, and the next set of players are like 9K, 9.3K, 9.5K, 9.6K. So we'll see what Connecticut can put together, assuming that Leftovers is just gone for good, which I have to figure he is.
He is.
Yeah. That old guard for that state is gone, and it is what it is. It's always going to happen. Player turnover in smaller states is a demon to try to handle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually at a meetup with him a couple weeks ago, and that guy is just completely gone. Couple old names at that meetup actually. If you recognize, who else was there? Josh was there. Arth was there. Explosion Boom was there.
Oh my gosh, no!
I was the youngest person.
That's like 2020 meetup or 2019 meetup. Holy cow!
I was the youngest there by 5 years.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I miss Josh.
Yeah, system. All eyes on Will Cookie. That guy is a pretty good reading player, as per mentioned. See how long he can hold on to this double S on this, because this is kind of an insane map to hold any form of double S in, especially this far. This is where the map really starts to get really stupid.
That's kind of a shame. There's really nothing like this at all in the pool. And there it goes. Goodbye, that pattern. There's nothing like this in the pool at all. So Will Cookie doesn't get to show off just how much better he is than everyone else at this particular skill set in this matchup. But, oh well, it is what it is.
This is what warm-ups are for. If you aren't trying to troll, you are trying to pick a map that you enjoy playing. And Will Cookie having a pretty good time on this one. 98%. Best in the lobby by a long shot. And on the Carolina side on the screen, despite being a player for Georgia, is Axolotl, who I think will be looked at as sort of a third for Team Georgia to support Stacker and Razorfruit. One of those depth players I mentioned earlier that really needs to step up for Georgia to have a good chance of pulling off an insane seeding upset, by the way. These are very far apart seeds for the match to be considered as close as it is.
Yeah, Georgia definitely is the most like underseeded team relative to kind of their expected performance and their performance in the first round. So we'll see, if they can keep that up. I think they should be able to make this pretty competitive, but it's definitely going to be, I think, a challenging one. Carolina, number 15 in the performance scores from last week. Georgia, in fact, number 9. So in terms of, statistics, did have a better performance in that sense, despite their win being 5-3, whereas Carolina had a 5-0 victory. Georgia, relative to the crowd, did have a very good match in that first round. So in we'll go. Gonna get into our bands. Gonna get into our picks. Georgia opting into second pick. Got to figure that Carolina will probably opt into second ban, as is usually the expectation. And I think if you're Carolina, I think you might ban out Will Cookie. Like, just ban out a gimmick map. Georgia probably bans out their worst speed map, whatever that may be, whether it's like DT1 or DT2, or even Nomad 1.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate for Will Cookie to be that one, like, god-tier reading player in a mechanic state, but Carolina, if they just had a couple other reading players, they would be such a strong gimmick team with Will Cookie as the centerpiece, but for them, they're probably going to be looking towards the mechanics because Georgia, at this stage, especially the tournament, Stacker Joe is going to be a huge contender against Will Cookie on some of the reading picks, especially an old map like the Hidden 2. So probably not going to want that. But the DT2 ban is going to come out from Georgia, banning out some tapping, finger control.
Yeah, really not surprised there. Carolina banning out the precision pick. Hard Rock 2 has not been a very popular map this week at all. It has one pick until now, and this is its first ban. So, a little surprising because it seems teams have kind of just shaken hands on not bothering with that map. Nobody really wants to have anything to do with it. But Carolina says we don't want to allow Georgia to play a precision map, which, functions two ways, right? If it's a map that they're not comfortable with, that's great. And it allows them to retain whatever overlap in picks there might be between things that Will Cookie is good at and things that Georgia is good at. Like, let him do his thing, which I think if you're Carolina is always a positive.
Mm-hmm. And Stacker Joe playing that hand, saying that we were gonna ban that as well. That's always a great feeling when your opponent bans a map that you also didn't want to play. But yeah, the Hard Rock 2, I think the consensus was that was just the hardest map in this pool by a pretty fair margin. It was played in the most recent match I casted, and people just didn't really look very comfortable on that at all. It was like Wisconsin versus Kentucky, and I think the top score was like somewhere around 500k.
And to be fair, there is also DT3, which has seen its share of very low scores. I'm not actually sure what the lowest average score is going to be this week because there's enough really awful scores from that one matchup on Nomad 4 that could get dragged down super far. But yeah, the Hard Rock 2, if it gets played more, could be down there. DT3 likewise. But it is going to be Carolina just going ahead and first picking the DT1. No real surprise there. You've got Will Cookie, you've got Rhythmic RS, you've got ABBA, you've got some very good early stage, and in the case of these guys, really some pretty good late stage as well, DT tapping players. So I think not a surprise to see them starting off with a 294 BPM bursty DT pick.
Yeah, very high BPM pick. I'm going to see Shane come in to take that third spot for Carolina, replacing Will Cookie. That makes sense. He's a very strong mechanics player. And Stacker Joe playing the mind games in the multiplayer chat, calling all of the sports teams of the Carolinas ass. But now the Falcons are being brought up, and that diffuses any argument Stacker had.
28-3. I mean, what more could you say? Kind of just how it goes.
Mm-hmm. We're going to see Rhythmic RS sketching Shane for Carolina. Georgia, Stacker, OOMX, and hopefully Razor Fruit in that final spot. I would expect to see Razor Fruit at the very least.
Yeah, I think it feels to me like regardless of the Georgia roster, I don't know that I like their chances on this, but it is short enough and, you can kind of... I don't know. It's double tappable bursts, but there's a little bit of aim required in them, so I don't know. It might be kind of tricky in that regard. We'll see. Snake got third from Georgia. I'd like to see this match get going here. Very curious how it's going to play out.
Mm-hmm. But first, they need a couple more players in the lobby, and here comes Axolotl and Razor Fruit. So Stacker Joe actually going to be sitting out on this one. which also makes sense. He's not really the player I'd expect to really enjoy this 294 BPM speed. He's kind of one of those all-rounder, not speed player types of guys.
All right. Well, two late chefs are coming out. Looks like we should be able to get underway. It is going to be Rhythmic RS Sketch, Hey It's Shane, against Oxalotl OMX and Razorfruit. Carolina first pick into the speed.
This is the type of pick where I think we're going to see really early who's comfortable on this speed and who isn't. We already see that massive drop with an act drop from OMX and Axolotl down at 92. And that is probably why Carolina's looking to pick a map like this first. Just an overwhelming advantage on those high mechanics is what they expect going into this.
So we did get that early break from OMX. Another one. Razorfruit had the SS for longer than anyone else on the team, but it's going to fall as well. And just like that, as you said, the heavy mechanics working out at the start of this one in Carolina's favor. Triple FC against just a single FC on Oxalotl, and that FC is all the way down at 93 AC. So looking pretty good here for Georgia on their first pick. Already trending toward over with a 500k lead.
Yeah, that DT multiplier on maps as short as this one just explodes so quickly. Like, map already 3/4 over, and it's a 500k lead for Carolina. And Rhythmic RS, I didn't even say it. He already just dropped the 100 for me. He was holding onto the SS, now 99.7. Still such a strong accuracy from him. Just gonna see if he can lock out that extremely high accuracy FC.
This is gonna be the best play on this map this weekend. It does drop one more 100 there very near the end, unfortunately, but really well done from Rhythmic RS. You can see why Carolina wanted to first pick that, as it is really well done by all of them. Rhythmic RS just bringing home the 2-100 FC, and it is a three-way full combo for Carolina. That's going to be a tough score for literally any team to beat. The accuracy is the only thing that gives anybody else a chance. Carolina, 2 B ranks. Razorfruit does close out the S rank, but doesn't really matter. Missed right in the middle, and we'll finish at 534k. So that was exactly what Carolina wanted as they get this match underway.
Yeah, you know, if you're Georgia and you see a score like that, you kind of just brush off that first pick. Like, nobody is going to beat that score this weekend, probably. Like, a 3-way FC, 296s, and a high 99, like, that is an unbelievable pick from Carolina. Like, that pick was over after the first burst, unironically.
Yeah, that one ended very, very fast. Once you find one break, it's just over. But next pick will be the first pick for Georgia, so we'll see if they can find something that they're similarly comfortable with. I don't suspect we'll see something quite that one-sided, regardless of what it may be, but there are options in this pool that I think Georgia should feel pretty good about.
Yep, and this is the one I was expecting first for Georgia. HD2, the low AR old map that really goes to fit the strength of Stacker Gel and Razorfruit, who's also a very good reading player. And this is where I think we'll see the best possible roster for Georgia come out. Although, obviously, we were talking about this earlier, you're kind of poking the bear here with Will Cookie when you pick into a map like this.
Yeah, this is absolutely a Will Cookie, like, 1x100 or SS type of map. He is unbelievably strong on early round Air 8 hiddens. I mean, this is just like his calling card. So the question there, of course, becoming really, what's the supporting scores going to look like from Sketch and Filipino versus the 3-man roster of Stacker, Kazamiya, and Razorfruit on the side of Georgia, who are historically, quite well known for being really good at this type of map.
I would be really surprised if it does just come down to like a carry performance, because this is the type of low AR hidden map that's been pulled in a billion tournaments before this. Anyone who's played tournaments for longer than probably 3 years has seen this map at least once. And I know when this map got announced, Yoshi Lover, who previously was on Team New Jersey, just sent a screenshot of like 16 FC locals from previous tournaments. Like, this is one that people have probably seen before and shouldn't miss on if they're well practiced.
Yeah, this is a super accessible low AR hidden. Granted, I feel like we haven't seen as many FCs as we might expect to on it, but we have seen a fair number of good scores. Anyone who is mildly competent at this skill set is going to have a pretty good time with it. So in we will go. Map number 2, first pick Georgia, looking to start the match off with their own pick on the right foot, after Carolina did so on their own first pick with one of the best scores we've seen all weekend. See what Georgia can do in response here. Watching Will Cookie, watching Stacker, and then everybody. Okay, I'm sorry.
Damn it. Well, there's one section of the map that I think is acceptable to break on, and it's this kind of light finger control section in the middle with bursts that vary in length, and that's where we've been seeing the majority of act drops and breaks from people who haven't been comfortable on the skill set. But luckily for Stacker Joe, that super early drop isn't going to mean a lot, but Carolina first kind of needs to drop this triple SS, and there we go. Filipino with the break. And now into the finger control section, let's see who drops their accuracy or their combo.
Gonna be Sketch. Yeah. The answer to that question comes quickly. And now double FC for Georgia and a high combo from Stacker. Just that very early break. He's recovered just fine since then. That's gonna be a pretty massive lead for Georgia here. Double FC against one FC only, and there's a big drop from Sketch. Dropped a lot of accuracy and a miss, so this is going to be Georgia taking a commanding lead, 400k, and growing into the last third of the map.
And this is why Georgia's known to be a great low AR team. They are looking just about as comfortable as Carolina did on the DT1. Almost a 3-way FC, all with 99% going into the last KI of the map. And these teams are just so comfortable on their first picks. It's kind of absurd how good Georgia looks on this. Stacker Joe, gonna make me shut my mouth, finding a break at the very end, as well as Razor Fruit. But Kazemiya gonna look to lock in that FC at the end, 99.4%, and Georgia has their response.
And by 700k, despite Will Cookie dropping the SS, I would like to say I predicted the Will Cookie. I did call the Will Cookie SS, but it also absolutely did not matter at all because he just did not have the backing scores. So yeah, that went, I think, about exactly as literally everyone expected it to, where Georgia just had a really solid 3-man score on it. Kazemiya on the FC with high accuracy, Razorfruit and Stacker not too far behind, and then Will Cookie on a Will Cookie early round hidden 2 play. But unfortunately, Filipino Sketch providing not nearly enough backing score for him. And yeah, both teams just looked really good on their first picks. Those were solid.
But now Carolina, next pick, and I am fully expecting the Nomad one. Casters name random NBA players from the 2000s until you run out.
And he starts with Gilbert Arenas. How is that even random, bro? You could do so much better than that.
I don't know random NBA players.
Hey guys, Darko Milicic.
Okay, I'll let you go. I'm gonna say some stupid shit like
It's not Judas Ilgauskas, dude. What a beast for the Cavs. Oh my god, he was so good.
Stacker knows how to get us going. That guy, he's gotten into sports. He DMs me about it. It's fun.
Yeah, no, I honestly, like, I'm better at this with like tennis and football than I am with basketball, but that's pretty funny. I'm trying to remember a specific player because in one of the like NBA, I think it was NBA like ESPN NBA 2K5, I had like a particular player that I was always like teamed with on my creative player thing. But God, I can't remember who it was now. That's so sad. Can I just talk about the entire like 2004 Pistons roster with
Meta World Peace,
Rip Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince, Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, and Chauncey Billups, the NBA champion 2004 Detroit Pistons. How far they've fallen. Very sad. Okay, Manu Ginobili is not, like, that is not a deep cut. JJ Redick! LA Lakers coaching legend JJ Redick, bro. And it's Nomad 1, to the surprise of no one. Carolina eventually deciding to pick it. Like, we all know this was coming. I don't know why they had to wait so long, but here indeed is going to be the Nomad 1. Tapping, stamina, light speed, couple of longer streams in this one. This is just in their wheelhouse considering how the DP1 went for them.
Yeah, BPM a lot lower on this, so I think Georgia will have probably a better time on this one. Like, most certainly they are going to have some B ranks on this one, but still Carolina, this is right in where they are strong. Probably going to see the same roster as the DT1 with Shane, Rhythmic RS, and Sketch. And for Georgia, probably expect the same as well. Probably Razorfruit, Axolotl, and Max.
This is going to be an interesting one. Like you said, the speed requirement of this, obviously a lot lower in terms of raw speed. It will lean a lot more into the stamina aspect, which could open the door a bit for a Georgia team that seemed a little overmatched by the raw BPM of DT1, but, you know, we'll see. I still think it's going to be a tough fight for them after seeing what Carolina was capable of on the first CT pick, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's round of 16. We're still at an early enough stage where Chaos can just completely tear matches apart. Like, Razorfruit could just FC this, and everyone on Carolina could break, and it could be a break point for Georgia, although I do believe that's a little bit unlikely. And Maya Okafor. And it is going to be the same rosters as the DT1 for both sides.
In the immortal words of Fortune Family, type don't promise shit. Look at a Mecha Okafor. From their track, Take Me Away, which if you are a real one, you'll remember from some episode of FaZe Illcams or other. Also, we have Rhythmic RS and Axolotl not loading in. If we can please get a panic.
There we go.
And there we go. Indeed. Wow. Okay, multiple early breaks, maybe, but it might have been just Bancho. Let's see. Hey, it's Shane is about 40 combo behind. Max having some difficulty early on here as well.
This is the type of map where we've also seen a lot of people break on these awkward kick slider jumps that show up because the structure of this map is quite old. Like, just the way that the patterns form themselves. You see the kick slider jumps coming in, so easy to break. The 3 breaks, Axolotl, Max, and Sketch finding drops on them, but that's going to favor Carolina, especially as Axolotl finds another drop. And it's going to be Razorfruit, Rhythmic RS, and Shane holding on to the big combos.
Yeah, if you see an S rank with, what is it, like 1400 combo on this map, you know exactly where they broke. Because that is that kick slider pattern. It's like the last section in that kick slider pattern is where everybody finds those slider breaks. But as you said, advantage to Carolina with the double combo break from Georgia on Axolotl and Max. Razorfruit holding their only FC, Rhythmic RS, and Shane on the FCs. There goes Axolotl again as well, so advantage is going to work its way further in favor of Carolina on what is, relatively speaking, one of the longer picks, almost 4 minutes.
But unlike the DT1, the combos are there for Georgia to take this back if the breaks do come at the right time for Carolina. Max has brought the combo back, and the accuracy is very strong for him as well. So it's all just going to be on to the combos of Carolina. If they can hold on, they'll be able to get a massive lead on this pick. But for Georgia's sake, they need one of them to drop soon. That lead already at about 100k, and we've reached the halfway point of the map.
Yeah, this is looking like a pretty good pick so far for Carolina. These combos getting pretty darn big. And no, there's what, a couple longer. Oh, it's a misaim slider head from Rhythmic RS. That was really unfortunate. Axolotl will trade it out. Max had just broken a bit before. So it's not going to be the end of the world in any way for Carolina. That was just a bit of a shame. Razorfruit versus Hey It's Shane. Hey It's Shane does fall on the longer stream. So Razorfruit now has the biggest combo in the lobby, but he breaks as well. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's Sketch. It's just Sketch.
The repeat slider got to Razorfruit so bad. I saw that slider break. I felt it in my soul. And now Sketch just running away with this one for Carolina. Already a 230k score lead for them, and Sketch will run this one into the ending for another successful pick on the mechanics for Carolina. Now, as we wait for this pick to go into the ending, Georgia, their second pick, I think it has to be DT3, which is just funny to say it has to be their pick this early on into the match. They have to pick it at some point, I think.
Yeah, I do think DT3 is like a must pick for Georgia. There's just not a lot of maps that work for the skill set we know and expect from them. I think their next two picks, should probably be two of Nomad 2, Nomad 3, and DT3 in some capacity. I don't think they go Hidden 1. I don't think they go Hard Rock 1. I don't know that they go with a free mod because it's not really like Georgia free mods. So I would expect a DT3 pick, if not here, then next. And if not, it's like Nomad 3 and then maybe Nomad 2.
The caveat about picking one of those Nomad gimmick maps is you probably worry a little less about Will Cookie, even though I know Will Cookie is able to read without Hidden, just very much prefers the Hidden. And yeah, Sketch, look at that, 99%, 1 miss. Owo Max, very good accuracy as well, 2 miss, 99.3%, just finding some unfortunately timed misses there. And then the 1 miss from Razorfruit. This one was in reach for Georgia, but Carolina just doing it a lot better on this one.
As a side note, can we talk about how weirdly similar Georgia and North Carolina's flags are? I know you can't see just the North Carolina flag in that, but there's some bizarre levels of similarity there. And it actually is going to be the Hidden 1 next pick from Georgia. I am a bit surprised by this one. Just a pretty basic flow stream map. Obviously a team that's good at Hidden on the side of Georgia. We know that, but I don't know that it feels like this skill set particularly favors them in the way that the low AR Amy Hidden 2 did.
Udonis Haslam. Yeah, you know, this is one of those where you don't really question the pick, I guess, until it's happened, but maybe they have some really good scores on this. I know Razorfruit, a pretty good Hidden stream player, and if Stacker Joe's staying in the lobby, then he's probably good at this as well. Because, you know, he did farm some stream maps back in the day when he was gaining some ranks, so even though it is a stream map, slow BPM for him, has the flow aim for it for sure. And for Carolina, though, Rhythmic RS is not going to be phased by the Hidden on this map, probably going to stay in the lobby to join Will Cookie, and then whoever their third may be. It's going to be, I think, more of a dogfight than if they were to pick something more chaotic like that DT3. Mari Stoudemire, good one.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really like amazing at this when it comes to basketball. Just I don't know. I can do this with many other sports better than I can do it with basketball. But yeah, I think you're probably right about like they probably have very good scores on this, like on their sheet and stuff. So logical in that sense, but this feels a little riskier than the Hidden 2 did, and I still feel like I would have liked to see that DT3. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, they know more than I do about their stats, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into it, so we'll see.
Rosters, Rhythmic RS, Will Cookie, Hey It's Shane, up against Razorfruit, Stacker, and OMX. I feel like these are kind of like the high-flying rosters for both sides. Probably where you could expect the highest possible scores. We see Act drops very early for Hey It's Shane, all the way down at 70% out of the start, and Rhythmic RS gonna drop as well. Maybe a little bit, maybe they know something we don't.
Yeah, they always know more than we do. More information by far. Well, plenty of combo left with it being a streamy map. Early breaks aren't the absolute end of the world, especially if Georgia finds some misses in the second 2/3 of the map. But 100K lead is there for Georgia. We'll see how long it lasts.
Accuracy drop from Razorfruit down to 95, but still doing a lot better than the combination of Shane and Rhythmic RS. But now the streams are going to start to ramp up as we get towards the Ki. Razorfruit dropping down to 90%, but Hey It's Shane going to be full missing that stream. Not going to be good for the side of Carolina. Razorfruit dropping, though. That's one of the FCs down. Now Stacker Joe and Max. But the repeated drops from Hey It's Shane really going to be squandering any chance for Carolina to capitalize on this.
Yeah, he's actually... Okay, well, it's a full reset, so it doesn't actually matter now. Until that point, it was largely Hayes Shane that was taking Carolina out of contention on this pick. But Rhythmic RS and Will Cookie breaking in the last quarter here really seals the deal. And Max over there, by the way, having a good time. 99.5 AC. A very solid performance. And just, oh my God, misses the entire last stream. I am so sorry.
I felt that Max, but still top score in the lobby. Such a good margin. Max just taking it over at the end. Great score from them. And Georgia, I guess we shouldn't have questioned that pick. It was a very good one from them in the end. 400K of victory, getting the job done.
Yeah, that pick was super, super solid as it turns out. So well done there to Georgia. Just 2-2, and it's just back and forth on these first couple picks, man. Like, this is both teams performing well in the early goings on their own selections. I mean, we've now had 1.7 mil win, 700K win, almost 400K win, and then a 400K win again. So really no inroads to a break point for either team through the first 4 picks, which is exactly what you like to see in a matchup that we talked up as being pretty evenly matched, or at least on paper. And so far, so good in that regard, as Carolina will go into their next pick with maybe a little less certainty than the previous picks. I don't know. You know, they use the 2 tapping maps, the DT1 and the Nomad 1, both gone. So now it might have to be something a little bit different, unless they maybe feel like something like Tengaku is the closest thing left. I mean, I don't think you go Nomad 4. That doesn't count.
Yeah, I don't know if you go Tengaku. I don't know if you go for, like, Future Candy. It's going to have to be a different angle here for Carolina. It's going to be, though, Naus Obrigada. This map has been picked an awful lot, actually. Like, more than I expected. A lot of people have really opted into this one.
Yeah, this is going to be, I believe, pick number 7 for this map. And that is out of 10 matches so far. So definitely one of the most popular maps. This and the Hidden 2 are the 2 most popular maps in the pool to this point. Definitely options that people are liking a lot.
This one, it's kind of a weird map. It's very free mod friendly, with the low circle size, and Hidden, if you're a Hidden preference player, Hidden doesn't really add anything to this map. And it's just snap alt with some difficult, kind of awkward kick slider jumps in the middle. And it's just a overall kind of a vibe of the map. Really like the song.
Yeah, this is a super cool free mod. I like the way this plays. I like kind of what we've seen out of this map. It's nicely, I think, balanced for either mod. I don't really think this super favors either mod. I think there's been discussions that, like, this free mod pool is technically a little hidden favor just because the maps are kind of hard with Hard Rock. But since it's requiring you to basically run a hidden and a Hard Rock, I don't know that really matters.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a few battles to watch on this map. The Hard Rock, it's going to be a tough question for the Hard Rock on Georgia, because you might want to put a player like Razorfruit, who's the most consistent player on your team, on the Hidden or the No Mod. But Rhythmic RS is probably going to be really scary on the Hard Rock. And then obviously Will Cookie, being the hidden demon that he is to be feared on this map. So I do think this is a very good pick coming out of Carolina. And it's going to be Razorfruit on the Hard Rock. Max taking Hidden. And it's going to be actually, hey, it's Shane taking the Hard Rock and Will Cookie on the Hidden, leaving Mr. Norman on the Nomad.
Yeah, curious to see how this one plays out with the mod choices being what they are. You can already see the Hard Rock players' AC dropping precipitously, but that really doesn't matter very much if they're both dropping that much. And into the map proper we go in just a moment here. Got to get through this first, 130, 150 combo to the kick slider jumps there. And Will Cookie is actually going to instantly break. So it will be advantage Georgia by a small margin in the early goings here.
And Shane to drop as well. There's 2 FCs gone for Carolina in the early goings. Axolotl's going to trade the Nomad, which is actually pretty significant. but it's only Rhythmic RS on the big combo now for Carolina. A third of the way through, Max and Razor Fruit pulling it forward for Georgia. But this one's going to remain close. The combos are very close between the two teams.
And it's a lot of these short maps where the breaks matter much earlier than they may otherwise. When you've only got 2 minutes to work with, you don't have time to build the combo back up. There goes Will Cookie again, and you do still have that double FC on Max and on Razor Fruit on the mods for Georgia, showing that even if it's not an anti-mod, they are still a team to be feared on free mod picks. Rhythmic RS Hayak Nomad FC doing better than Oxalotl, but doesn't have a second FC in support, and that's going to be the important part.
And there goes Rhythmic RS. Only Shane now on the combo for Carolina. Max does trade the break, but that's a trade that favors Georgia. They already have 200k of lead plus, and Razor Fruit on the Hard Rock is going in on this.
Yeah, this is a really impressive HR play. There goes Max. It's going to be a drop on the hidden, but it's a 400k lead for Georgia, so I don't really think it matters. You still have Oxalotl, and you still have backing up the FC from Razor Fruit, and this is going to be Georgia pulling a surprising to me break point on only the third pick from Carolina. They ran through those first couple tapping maps so quickly, and this has just been a blunder, and that is going to be a solid 2-0 team score for the Georgia side. And now, if they can find a pick next, they're going to push themselves to match point very quickly.
And they've got picks in store that we've mentioned earlier. The Earth and the Nomad pool is there, as well as the DT3. Both some of those gimmickier maps that we think favor Georgia. But that is such a crucial break point to take over Carolina there. A team as deep as Carolina is, you really need to scrape those break points where you can, and Georgia just clutching up. All three of their players doing very well on that one. But now Georgia, this pick is going to be even more crucial because this is their best opportunity to lock in that tiebreaker. Get to match point right now on your own pick. And I think it should be the DT3, but as previously mentioned, they know a lot more than we do.
Yeah, I mean, we questioned the hidden one. Obviously, there was no need to question that. DT3 seems like a great option, but you do still have Nomad 2, you do still have Nomad 3, so there are a couple of Nomad options, and there it is. It's going to be indeed that Nomad 3 pick. So we will go into the Earth, which is aim control, finger control, very tricky Nomad 6-esque pick. The only thing, it's not a reading Nomad 6. It's one of those, rhythm Nomad 6s that we saw so much of for a couple of years there. And this fits more in line, I think, with what we traditionally expect out of Georgia picks.
And it's picking into some of the weaknesses of Carolina. Rhythmic RS, mostly known as a very strong mechanics player, less known for his prowess on picks like this, as well as, hey, it's Shane, more of a mechanics player than a gimmick player. Probably expect him to have low AC if he remains in the lobby for this one. Meanwhile, Georgia gonna be seeing a new face enter the lobby. We've got Little N645. I think one of the newcomers for Georgia.
Yeah, I am fairly sure, unless that's a name change. Well, he doesn't have name history on his user page, so perhaps not. Yeah, new player to the team. I don't know anything about this player, I'm not gonna lie. Rank 5k, no badges, so I really can't say I know anything about their capabilities, unfortunately. But reading/rhythm player, presumably, if they're in for this pick.
Kind of surprised not to see Stacker enter the lobby for this one, but still, maybe this is the map that Little N645 was preparing for. Yeah, this is a crucial turning point of this match. If Georgia locks in this pick, they will be up at match point in what would be the craziest seed upset, maybe in USC history even. And then if Carolina takes us back, match goes back to equilibrium.
Yeah, it would definitely be up there to see an 8 seed fall at the hands of a 24 seed. So we'll see if Georgia can make that happen. Accuracy going to be at a bit of a premium on this one. as you expect, 90, 95, 96 if you're doing quite well. So it's all about keeping the combo up throughout. And with the early break from Little N, it's going to go back over to Carolina, even though Shane broke right at the start, has recovered combo 91 AC, 89 AC on Little N. No slider breaks on the slow slider. Fortunately, we got a couple people slow slided earlier. And so we'll see what kind of lead Carolina can build. It's not a huge difference. It's about 100 combo is all.
Yeah, and Little N is really struggling on this one, down at 90%. Starting to question that roster decision a little bit. Axolotl and Razorfruit trying their best on this one, but none of the breaks are coming out for Carolina to match this, and that's what most of this lead is going to be made up from right now. Shane on the early break, but still at 93%, and there goes Axolotl. That is such a horrible miss for Georgia right at the 2/3 mark of the map. And now Carolina is just going to sprint away with this lead. 2 FCs and the reverse choke still in tow. Rhythmic RS going to finally find a drop, but the time is quickly fleeting for Georgia to take this one back, and Shane going to find a drop. Is there enough time?
It doesn't matter because there's not the combo. Will Cookie is matching Razorfruit, so there's no backing combo for Georgia to try to bring this back, even if there had been time. Will Cookie holding does break, but so does Razorfruit. So back-to-back just mispicks, I fear, or underperformances compared to what the teams expected out of the picks, I guess. You know, the free mod 1 not working out for Carolina, but the no mod 3 not working out for Georgia. And we can continue to question why Georgia didn't just pick DT3 here, based on how that one went. Little N coming in for their first map of the match and dropping the 178k when you lose by 370k. That's going to be the question mark here, is what happened there.
Chat saying that Little was nervous. That's okay. That's something that happens when you come in for USC for like your first map of the match. It's unfortunate, but it definitely does happen. So it's unfortunate occurrences there for Georgia and Little. But now Carolina, 3 apiece now, match back in a position that they like. But now in their case, they have to reconsider their pick options a little bit, because obviously that free mod pick did go awry for them.
Yeah, and I don't know what the optimal pick here is if you're Carolina. This is, of course, your last pick of the match for both teams coming up. No mods 2, 4, and 5 still available. Don't know that any of those feel super great for Carolina. Hard Rock 1, DT3, and then free mods 2 and 3. Nothing feels one-sided of those maps, and none of them are maps that like I 100% associate with either of these teams. So last pick on both sides, like I do still think Georgia last picking DT3 would probably be their bet. But as far as Carolina goes, I'm not really sure what's optimal here for them.
Yeah, I mean, just pick something that you can feel like you have an advantage on. Like anything where you have multiple FCs on the sheet is fair game at this point. Like I could expect to see something like free mod 2 to come out from them if they want to continue down that free mod route, but something a little bit more mechanically oriented, something that probably is a little more to their speed. But also the Hard Rock pool, they still have HR1 available to them, but it's going to be the No Mod 4.
Oh, and they did it! They actually did it!
Oh my god, they're picking...
Carolina going No Mod 4 Gambit at 3-3 with their last pick. Interesting.
This map has actually just been like peak narrative for this entire weekend. Every good narrative this weekend has stemmed from this map, actually.
Yeah, this is the 7th pick on this map. So it's another one of those this is second most pick now, tied second most pick now. And well, we know how this goes. It is 6-way FC, and whoever drops the most hundreds loses.
And I really like this from Carolina, actually. They have some players who should definitely be able to hit these long streams. I mean, Rhythmic RS, you have to expect him to be Rhythmic and SS on this one. Meanwhile, Sketch has looked really strong on the mechanics this match. But for Georgia, I mean, OO Max on the hidden one looks very solid. Razorfruit as well, expected to do very well. But not really sure who to expect for the third on both of these rosters. Unless Stacker Joe really does play this, which he might. That Rhythmic SS pun, I was really happy about that one, by the way.
Yeah, That's pretty solid. I can appreciate it.
It rolled off my tongue well.
It just happened. You just gotta let it happen sometimes. Oh boy, this map is like whenever it gets picked, I just want to get into it and see what happens because, like you said, the narrative of this just goes absolutely bonkers every single time.
Yeah, like compared to all of the really stupid picks Dada has ever pulled in the history of USC, this one might just be the best one ever. Like compared to what like I'm retarded compared to Gamble, like this one just has so much aura after the end of this weekend.
And I like this map, oddly enough. So they fill a similar kind of concept, even if they're completely different maps. I like this more than I'm retarded, because this is actually listenable. Gamble was hilarious. Oh, Shane. Welp, Carolina loses the pick. Just go next. It's actually over.
Wait, but the stamina hasn't run out yet. Like,
no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Please.
Dude, like 180 stamina is a little more volatile than you think, especially on some of these lower ranked players. Like OO Max, like I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's tough. It's tough.
We'll see in like 1K combo. There is some time, but legitimately, like missing once in this can just lose it. And the fact that was down at 95 AC for a while there, does not inspire confidence in the rest of the map.
Now halfway through, no one looking to really be out of stamina yet. Hey, it's Shane though. The accuracy is going straight down, 92% for Shane. Still three-way 99 for Georgia, and one of those still being the double S from Razorfruit. And this pick, once again, maybe another one, third break point in a row in a match where the picks looked so solid at the beginning.
Yeah, the narrative of this match has taken such a sharp turn. We had 4 straight really comfortable, 1 picks. And now we're going to go back to back breaks, it looks like, unless Georgia has multiple misses in the last couple hundred combo. Very, very surprising to see how this match has started to go. Rhythmic RS and Sketch looking so good too. This is an interesting one to pick if you don't have a third player who you know is 110% confident in it, by the way, because you got to figure that the other team is going to just 3-way it. So picking this and knowing that you have a liability as your third member seems really questionable to me.
Oh my god, Georgia on this one, just completely flipping the script. Razorfruit SS, Stacker Joe, I think 1x100, OO Max 99.5%. This is one of the best scores on this map of the weekend for sure from Georgia. And for Carolina, that's just tough. Hey, it's Shane, 300k, 87%. For all the reasons you just mentioned now, this match has flipped upside down and Georgia is now picking for the match. Is DT3 coming now?
It should be. It should be. Also, can we just talk about how good that team score is from Georgia? 2 players
so
over
good.
1 million on a Nomad.
I just want to say, OO Max, I apologize. I was not familiar with your game. On the stream picks, OO Max has been such a critical player for Georgia at that Nomad 4 and the Hidden 1. Playing really well on those. And Stacker Joe is still naming NBA players.
Oh, let's gotta get a life, bro.
No, actually, like, that's the most insane, like, it's both a nerve tech and potentially even a mind game. Because you just break pointed a team that is like 16 seeds higher than you, and now you're naming JJ Barea and Shane Battier. Like, I don't even know who those guys are.
I also said Shane Battier. Why is Stacker just stealing all the teams that I said? I said Amari Stoudemire. I said Shane Battier. There's one other that I said as well. I am getting so trolled here.
Hard Rock 1, we aren't getting Crystal Lattice. We're getting Future Candy for Georgia to try to...
How is this matchup not playing DT3?
Okay, I mean, I guess Chaos just wins. It's round of 16. Regardless of the outcome of this match, sorry, Chaos is winning. But I kind of like this. If you're kind of picking for some of your stronger players with this one, I think Razorfruit should be very good at this map. But also, Rhythmic RS gonna be really comfortable on the hard rock on this one. As well as we're seeing Killing Copper, aka Filipino, hop in for their first map, I believe. But yeah, what a match this has actually been. We are either getting the craziest seed upset in USC history at the end of this map, or we are getting a tiebreaker between two states that border each other. Like, the script just writes itself. And we're getting one of the longer maps in the pool to do it on. Future Candy up around 3 minutes. I always feel like this one is longer than 2 minutes and 56 seconds, but it's still gonna be one of those maps where the bigger combos are gonna matter. You're gonna be seeing really quickly who's comfortable on this map and who isn't based on the accuracy, because there's some kind of awkward 1/3s scattered throughout this map.
Yeah, this map has like, I feel this map gets harder the farther in a match you are. Because, like, the nerves can just catch you a little bit more when it's the last pick of the match compared to, you know, when it's one of the first couple. As I think that's kind of just, like, how Hard Rock goes, maybe, though. So, I'm scared for everyone on this. Notably, something important to point out about this particular situation, the last 2 picks of this match are going to go Nomad 4, Hard Rock 1, and Carolina's best player is not in for either of them. We are not getting Will Cookie for the last 2 picks of the match, which could be, from 3-3 to 4-3 Georgia, and now Georgia trying to close it out on their pick. So obviously, they're, you know, you got to trust their rosters. You got to trust them to know the best players for every situation for their team. But that's an interesting scenario. And this is 2 early breaks from Rhythmic RS and from Filipino. And Georgia's going to start off with a pretty hefty lead, but they're going to trade them both right back. Max and Razorfruit both fall. So it is Sketch versus Oxalotl now, and the only 2 FCs remaining in the lobby.
And the accuracy is slightly favoring Sketch. That break from OO Max is going to throw it right back to Carolina, but the Filipino break is going to keep it switching. And oh my god, this lead is just teetering on a knife's edge right now. Going into the break, it is a 4,000 score lead for the Carolinas right now. And just the pressure is on for these FCs. Axolotl and Sketch, they have the match in their hand right now. Whoever can hold on for longer is probably going to be doing the difference for their team right now. And we've got one of the harder sections of the map coming up. We have some difficult 1/3 triangles into some streams where we've seen a lot of people break, and which is what I consider to be the hardest section of this map. And here we go.
Rhythmic RS with the break. Max and Oxalotl both break as well, though. And that's a lot of unanswered combo now for Carolina. You have Sketch still holding. You have Filipino on a solid recovery combo. And that lead is going to start to grow just a bit. We're going to get past the halfway mark. If they can make it through the section, Filipino does break as well. Can Razorfruit hold through here? And he does. So you have Sketch and Razorfruit left. Some recovery combo, but not a lot for Oxalotl and OO Max. That lead is 80,000. Oh my god, Sketch just broke on air! Wait a minute! Razorfruit can now bring this back on his own. Sketch just broke on the easiest section of the entire map pool.
What did Sketch just break on? That might just be the second most consequential break of this weekend. I don't know if that beats the Bunny Like Money break in the Pennsylvania match, but it's not over yet. Axolotl does find a drop, but Razorfruit now in position to pounce right on this lead as it flips right back in favor of Georgia. And this is the one player you don't want to give the opportunity to. Razorfruit has been the MVP for Georgia so far, and he's going to look to run this lead into the ending.
He clutched it up on the free mod 1 with the Hard Rock, right? And here he goes again on the Hard Rock 1. You have a decent amount of combo in Rhythmic RS and Sketch. OO Max and Oxalotl not offering a lot into the ending. That score lead is only about 60,000 points, but Razorfruit is holding on for dear life into this ending. moments left in this match. Rhythmic RS and Sketch are doing everything that they can to try to bring it back, but I think that score lead is going to stick. I think Georgia's got what they need here to hold on. Razorfruit, the hero of the moment, coming into the ending, and there's the last stream, and there's Georgia 5-3, the biggest seed upset of the year. We have a 24 seed upsetting number 8 seeded Carolina. Well done, Georgia. Well done, Razorfruit.
Razorfruit, man. Sketch and Rhythmic RS had the combo, but Razorfruit with that massive combo just holding Carolina at arm's length for the ending of that map. He held on when it mattered most, and the southern neighbor of the Carolinas, the 16 seed underdog, going to be coming out victorious. And now we have a 24 seed going into winners quarterfinals. What a match.
That was really impressive stuff from Georgia. I mean, and what a wild swing of events this match had, from the 4 straight very easy 1 picks to back-to-back break points, and then Georgia finally pulling it out on their own last pick of the match. I mean, this match had everything to offer short of actually going to tiebreaker. Really, really impressive to see Georgia pulling it out in what we anticipated to be a great match. Really did live up to the billing.
Definitely. And Carolina now, a really scary team to be going down to the losers bracket. They're definitely going to make a mess of things down there. But right now, just hats off to both of these teams. Hats off to Georgia for such an insane performance, beating that 16 seed deficit. And, you know, we mentioned they were an underseeded team with some really strong firepower on the roster, and they just completely showed us why. All of the depth players came to play. Owo, Max, Axolotl came up to support those top players, and that's really what fueled this upset, I think.
That was just a team effort, and you got to commend them. Little history lesson in USC. This is tied for the biggest seed upset ever, and Georgia, to not much of a surprise, the lowest seed to ever make it into the winners bracket quarterfinals. So very, very well done to them. And of course, Carolina, like you said, they're going to be just a mine dropped into losers bracket, because I think this roster is still pretty strong. Just came up against the wrong team on the wrong day here with this particular matchup. So very well done to Georgia. We'll see them in winners quarterfinals, matching up against the winner of NorCal and Michigan. Carolina drops down to losers bracket. They'll face off against Kansas next week. But man, what a match this was, and I am very pleased to have been able to be a part of it.
And same here, but